Welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie. I am the head of publication here, and today we're going to be previewing Customer Contact Week 2025 in Las Vegas, arguably the biggest event on the contact center calendar. And joining me for this conversation is Matulich, the president of the Customer Management Practice. Mario, thanks very much for joining me. How are you doing today?
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Charlie. I'm excited for the conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. It's there's so much to cover today, but before maybe we get into the event proper, it might be good to do some scene setting because contact centers seem to be on the brink of a hugely transformative period. Yet change can bring new challenges and accentuate kind of existing and older challenges too. What are those? What are the most prominent challenges do you think that attendees are currently facing within their customer experience operations?
Yeah, it's a great question. CX operations leaders, I've always traditionally have said they're the unsung hero of an organization. Anytime there is a macroeconomic challenge, if there's a situation where there's this real pressure within the organization to elevate profitability, brand profile, the CX operations leader is always the one that seemingly is tapped on the shoulder. Doesn't always get all of the praise or the fanfare, but in the background is the person that is driving the organization forward. And I think this current era, whether it be challenges again on the macroeconomic front, geopolitical front that they're navigating, or when we think about just the incredible pace and evolution we're seeing across technology and how that intersection with people and process has sort of always been there. It's moved to such a priority. The decision making authority and how a CX operations leader now has to navigate what was already a complex role. It has become even more complex in how they have to make decisions around their tech stack and sort of what tech partners are going to help them deliver the customer outcomes that they're obviously striving to deliver. So it's a surreal time in so many ways. And so when you think about the role and really the key challenges that the role is facing now versus say 5 or 10 years ago, it looks almost unrecognizable. The person that led CX operations today, led CX operations for decades, and the person that leads it today are two very different people. Maybe the same person, same role, but that person's had to evolve such a great deal. And again, I think they're often the unsung hero of an organization. So it's an exciting time. It's a challenging time, but I know many of the people in this space that own this role are going to continue to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's fascinating to think of the background of most current contact center leaders, because typically they're leading contact centers and customer experience operations because they're really great communicators. And now, all of a sudden, they're having to kind of pick up lots of different skills as we're seeing new technologies and processes enter the space. And that's what makes events, I suppose, like CCW 2025 so valuable, because, of course, you have the agenda, but you also have a huge network of end users at the event and contact centers at the event, and you can talk to one another, learn from one another. But as I mentioned, the agenda is obviously a crucial part of that. Can you maybe tell me a little bit about what you're doing to help with your agenda to help attendees address some of those challenges?
Yeah, it's like you talk about communication strength of the leaders in the seat and how maybe that's evolved. In fact, I think the communication skill set of our leaders has only had to grow in the current environment. The pandemic served as a major inflection point for CX. Many of the contact center operations moved into a hybrid or remote work environment. Prior to the pandemic, 80% were still on premise, and now 80% are hybrid or remote. Even with return to office initiatives, this operation largely is distributed in a remote or hybrid environment. So that's put a lot of pressure on our leaders. Obviously, you compound that with the evolution in technology. So you look at AI and automation, data and analytics. You think about how that plays with leadership and cultural transformation, workforce management, agent experience. This all looks very different than it did 5 years ago. And so I often say a CX leader has no more than 5 years working experience. I don't care if they've done this for multiple decades. They've only been doing it currently for 5 years because it's that different of an environment. So when we talk about the challenges that we're aiming to address on our agenda, obviously I've mentioned a few of those key topic areas. Real-time agent assistant co-pilot has come into the frame, a major investment and priority area for our leaders. Omni-channel customer engagement, workforce optimization. The entire competency mix of a frontline leader and agent has evolved. So those that are driving great customer satisfaction, that are driving great NPS, top flight in all of their key performance indicators have actually looked at a very different framework for competencies for both their leaders and frontline agents. And those that have evolved those competencies over time since the pandemic are really reaping the rewards. So we continue to dive in there. There's self-service and various AI infused bots, whether it be chat, voice, looking at conversational, generative to now agentic AI and how that can play a role. All of this is being explored in our agenda. So if you're a CX leader and you're thinking about how do I enhance my frontline agents and leaders? How do I bring them to a different skill set that's required to deliver on customer outcomes? CCW is there to support you. If you're in that situation where your decision-making authority has only grown and you've now taken on more responsibility that resembles that of a CTO, even though you haven't been a CTO for the better part of your career, we have to make very, very important tech decisions that will come with obviously massive impact, both positive or negative, depending on if you get those decisions right. Again, CCW is here to support. And then finally, when you think about efficiencies and some of the pressures that organizations are facing at the moment to find cost efficiency and process efficiency to ensure that the organization can be as streamlined as possible, to be able to circumnavigate various cost pressures and other forms of pressures that maybe reside outside of their direct control. Again, that unsung hero, that CX leader, is here to take the ball and run with it, and CCW is there to support that person. So we have a massive group of over 5,000 practitioners coming together in Las Vegas next month, and those are just some of the areas that they're all going to be exploring, benchmarking against one another, and hoping to uncover best practices that they can take back to their respective operations.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, just the breadth of the agenda is so widespread. I mean, yes, of course, there's the focus on the evolving agent experience and customer self-service and things, but there's also lessons in there to improve your workforce management, to improve your quality assurance, and so forth. And I think that really stood out for me. I don't know if there's any particular flagship speaker sessions that you have planned for the week that you really want to kind of give a special shout out to.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you cite that about the agenda. There's so many speakers that I can point to. It's very difficult to pinpoint one or two. Obviously, you're going to hear from incredible brands like Marriott, Capital One. You're going to hear from some touch the hand of greatness type individuals, inspirational type individuals like Guy Fieri, Mike Ruzioni. Their leadership lessons that they can share from outside the world of contact center that I think will be very, very helpful and very much thought-provoking for our CX leaders. But when you dive into it, again, you look at the CX leader and you realize how complex their role is at the moment and how noisy this market is. To your point, there's so many different topic areas. There's so many different responsibility areas. There's different tech decisions and partnership decisions that have to be made. So the amount of noise out there it's at a fever pitch. And so to be able to cut through that noise and have clarity, when you think about some of the inspirational speakers you can hear from, fantastic. But when you go beyond that and you talk about the ability to sort of explore the expo hall and identify the providers that can really add a lot of value, to be able to work with, say, CMP research and leverage the CMP research prism to identify who you should spend your time with and where you should spend your time and how you should prioritize certain investment areas or priorities. All of those factors will be in play at CCW, and so we're aiming to put together a top flight, world class experience in delivering exactly what the CX leader needs, at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting to hear about the CMP Prism as well, because I think that's a really cool piece of work that you do, which I think can with everything else going on, it might almost get overshadowed. But I really encourage attendees going to the event to check that out. In terms of attending the event, I don't know quickly, just Mario, if you could give our viewers a little, well, tell our viewers where they can maybe go to find out more and register for the event.
Yeah, you can go to customercontactweek.com. The website's pretty user friendly. You'll be able to book your pass, and then we hope to see you in Las Vegas. It's going to be an exciting event. Like I said, over 5,000 practitioners joining us, 250 plus solution providers, over 250 thought leaders, speakers that are going to be sharing best practices on the various stages. So a real opportunity to take the week, break away from the day to day, and really assess some of those key challenges that are very real and very difficult for many CX leaders, but ones that I know that they will absolutely solve, and we hope to play that role in supporting them in doing so.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm very much looking forward to attending this year's event. Also, and as I mentioned, anybody who wants to look to attend to, I'll leave a link in the description actually, so people can go and check out the registration page. But I think that's maybe a great place to end today's chat. I want to thank Mario for joining me today. I think it was a really great discussion, and I also want to thank everybody for watching too. Bye for now.